Hey, Cruz, how are you? Mr. Blodgett, welcome. PGF 545, who I prefer to think of as PFG, but that's all right. Welcome aboard. Brody McBrick, Stoke Machine, welcome aboard. Another day in the shop. I'm doing good. Mostly today I moved snow so far. Modified machine works. All machines are modified. A name I can't pronounce, ending in 19, welcome. Nilofa Safari 19. How'd I do? Chris, good morning. You're a funny man. Yes, actually, you're not wrong. Today I am doing 4-inch stones, and you're the reason. That's great. Yes, because I was insistent that I bring the 6 inches in for a landing yesterday, and I did. Finished them, lasered them, packaged them in inventory, and then you ordered 4-inch stones. So today is 4-inch day, and 4 inchers go a little quicker, and I'm doing the same number of 4 inchers that I did yesterday of 6 inches, but it should be not pretty quick, but quicker. This morning I had to do snow removal. You guys have probably all heard about the bombogenesis or whatever they called it. I think it was a bit of a flop here. We got 9 inches of snow, and we were expecting 15, so wasn't so bad. My kiddo down in Boston, Boston claimed 23.5 inches of snow, but that was at Logan Airport. And then my kiddo sent me pictures out the dorm window of what was going on down there, and it didn't look anything close to 23 inches. So maybe in the greater Boston area they got a little less, but yeah, Boston is all whooped up about. It was the 7th largest. Let me see if I get this right. 7th largest January storm on the books, I think is how they put it. Anyway, it was a very lovely snow, and it all cleaned up very nicely. I noticed that when I ran the snowblower down the driveway and I was coming back up the driveway, the sun was already melting, hitting the blacktop and melting the snow. So it was a pretty good setup. So no big thing. In New Hampshire, we have a name for that type of a storm. It's called Saturday. So we got it done. So yeah, snow came and wented. What other news today? So we had a random. If you guys are joining us and you're kind of on your routine Sunday 1 p.m., you've got to show up here for the live. We did a rando live on Friday, and it was kind of fun. Hey, Adam the Machinist. Hey, Adam, I haven't seen you in a while. Welcome aboard. So anyway, we did a rando live on Friday, and that was very successful. And Octane Work Holding joined us, and he told us that he was having twins that day, so that was really cool. So Octane had twin girls. His wife had something to do with it. Actually, gets most of the credit. And then he joined us on the rando live, and then did a camera request, share video request. And the two of us were talking for a while, and everybody loved it. It was really cool. So what I'd like to do is from now on, I'm going to try to have a guest. It was Saturday. What do I know? No, it wasn't. Couldn't be Saturday. No. Maybe it was. I don't know. Anyway, I am a ninny, and I wear that badge proudly. So I think I want to make it a regular thing where we have a guest and shoot the breeze a little bit, because that was a lot of fun. So if anybody wants to volunteer for that today, raise your hand. I'm going to either pick somebody, or we won't do it today. We'll do it next week after some prior planning, because we had no prior planning. Chris, you wanna be our number 2 today? It'll be after we run the list here. It was yesterday. It seems like a million years ago. My God. That's what happens when you do that first, and then you do a zillion stones. Hey, Indiana John. Welcome aboard. Okay, so I'll let you know when. So Chris is going to be our guest today, and we'll do it a little later. And when the time comes, you know the button to hit, and we'll have a lot of fun. So let's see, a couple of items of rando news. I posted a picture about 15 minutes before we went live of the coolant nozzle. The coolant nozzle on the Okamoto is now a nozzle that I resin printed. So I'm pretty excited about seeing how that nozzle holds up. It's the nozzle that I showed previously. That is the Lockline manufactured version of the nozzle. And I downloaded the Lockline provided model of this nozzle, and then I printed it in 2 different resins. If you've been following our adventures, we first printed it in a fairly brittle resin that I affectionately call baby's first resin. It's called Gray version 4 from the Formlabs guys. And it's a really nice resin, and it has a lot of detail. But from a mechanical point of view, it was a little brittle. So I tried a million ways to make it work for the nozzle, and it did not work. So then I ordered up some Formlabs Tough 1500 resin, which is very close to polypropylene in its final form. And that was a huge success. Wonderful material. I did a few prints with it. It's really neat, very tough, very polypropylene-like. And that is what's on the schnozzle right now in this shape. So I ran it yesterday all day, and I'm going to be running it today all day, and we'll run it for a couple of weeks. And after a couple of weeks, I'm going to yank it off, and we'll put it under the microscope, and we'll see how it did. But if it survives a oil and water coolant, I'm using what am I using? Qualichem Extreme. Yeah, I'll give you the number later. I don't remember the number off the top of my head. 250. Yes, I do. XC, X-ray Charlie 250C, or Charlie. And yeah, I'm curious to see if the coolant negatively affects the resin. So that'll be very, very interesting to see. Because after that, I have a custom design that I'm going to be doing. So stay tuned for the nozzle project. That was a lot of fun. So let's see, what else? Today we're going to be giving away our McMaster car catalogs. If you saw the post, you know that I have 2 McMaster car catalogs to give away. A number 120, I believe, and then probably a 122. It's still in the box, never opened. So they're both like new, and I am giving them away today and shipping them out to 2 lucky contestants. And the entries for that have already been closed. So there's 24 entries. Some of them are multiple, because if you're a customer of mine, you got 3 entries, which is kind of cool. There's a couple of those. So we're going to do the drawing in a bit. Let's see, we covered that already. Oh, So I think I told you that, well, on the Rando Live, I related that shipping has been really amazingly slow. Hey, Warren, welcome aboard. I shipped some stuff to, actually, yeah. Yeah, you can. I'm gonna, let's see, where are you on here? There you are. Let's see. Copy. Paste. Paste. So we're up to 26. Excellent. Change that number to 26. Yeah, I guess we'll take care of you there, buddy. Good day, Warren. So shipping. I sent the shipment down to Australia, and it was taking a long time. We were at about a month. And my customer pinged me and said, hey, can you track the order? So we tracked the order, and it took a month, and it got to JFK Airport after a month. That's in New York City, for those of you who are international. So it was not good. So we had a good laugh over that, but hopefully it'll get on a plane and get down to Australia. And it doesn't, hopefully it doesn't take another month, but there's nothing we could do. That's shipping these days. That was the United States Postal Service, rain or shine. So we're dealing with that. And oh, by the way, if it's any consolation, that's how the McMaster car catalogs will go out. They'll probably go out medium size, flat rate box, I think. That's probably the best deal. Okay, in other news, I made some advancements in the design for the balancing stand that's coming. I'm glad I didn't start making it yet because I came up with some good ideas. So balancing stand is still in the pipeline, and that's coming. Cruise Manufacturing makes a good point. He says it would technically qualify for media mail, which might be cheaper. Thank you. Well, I'll check it out. Mark's Engineering, good afternoon. Ahmed, good afternoon. Okay, so sometimes people accidentally hit the I want to go live on your channel button. And sometimes it's not an accident and I have no idea who you are. So if I don't know who you are, it ain't happening. Yeah. So let's see. Should we do the drawing now? What do you think? We'll get the drawing done and then we're going to bring Chris in. That's your cue, Chris. After the drawing, I'm bringing you in. Okay, so we have a spreadsheet with everybody that entered, and you're numbered 1 through 26. All entries are 1 through 26, and I'm going to go to random.org. I'll show you. Turn you around here. Okay. So we're going to random.org. We haven't picked it yet. And I'm going to pick, this is for the Indiana John. You are fast on the emojis. with the fingers crossed. You're awesome. Okay. So this is for the boxed McMaster car catalog. We'll see what number it is, and then we'll unblind the numbers. Ready? Boom. Number 9 is the boxed one, and then the naked one, which is the 120, is number 20. 9 and 20. Let's figure out who 9 and 20 is. Let's see. Number 9, that would be Parker Heyman. Congratulations. You are number 9. You are getting the boxed probably number 122, McMaster car catalog. Okay, and now number 20, where are you? Number 20, T.M. Harbison. Congratulations, you are getting the number 120 catalog. Congratulations, guys. I will get these out in the mail. Thanks for playing. Pay no attention to the fact that the denatured alcohol was right next to my thermos. Don't make any assumptions. All right, we got that done. So those will go out. So number 9 was Parker Heyman. And number 20 was T.M. Harbison. Okay, if you guys are on here, send me a DM with your shipping address, and I'll get them out. Okay. So the boxed one is this one, and this is the open one. Done. Enough of that. Almost machining. Welcome aboard. You're almost here. Oh, you just got a new one like this week? That means I may be getting another one this week. If I do, we'll do another drawing, because I get them, but I don't tend to use them. Is there a dollar amount you need to buy from McMaster Car before they send you a catalog? I have no idea what the algorithm is. I assume it has to do with some dollar amount and maybe some consistency. But they're my go-to guys. Spend a lot of money with McMaster Car, so I have no idea. And I if you call them and ask them, hey Chris, I hate to interrupt.
Oh hey Spence.
Oh hey Chris, how are you?
Well, I'm just reading my McMaster Car.
Wow.
24. I'm kind of a big deal.
You kind of are a big deal.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's pretty nice. Anything new in there?
You know, there's so much. I just, you know. I've discovered, though, that if you don't have something or you don't know exists, you look it up and it magically appears, because there's no way they can have all this stuff.
Yeah, I know. It's nuts, right?
I don't think it's possible.
So, obviously, you're a long-time aficionado of the McMaster Car, but for those of you who are new to it, you should also know that if you want something that's not in the catalog, you just call them up, and they will get it for you. Did you know that?
No.
Have you ever done that, Chris?
Uh-uh.
Oh,
no, and actually, funny enough, I got that catalog from another friend of mine here locally, who got it from some random guy in like a welding shop. And I know people that have ordered thousands and thousands of dollars of them from them, and never got a catalog in here.
Yep.
Who knows?
Yeah, I hear the same thing. It's kind of a rare event. But I called them up once because I needed a tap. I was doing some 4140, and I was threading 4140. And it was a little confusing what the ideal tap was, because I was looking in the OSG catalog. So I know they carried some OSG stuff, so I called them up and I said, look, I want a tap. I talked to OSG's technical support. They gave me a number, and it's not in the catalog. They said, oh, don't worry about it. Just give us the number. So I gave them the number, and they issued a 999 part number. And they said, just order that part number. You'll get your tap. And I did. And they said, yeah, we do that all the time.
Yeah, and I know that I'm assuming most people here know about their website. But if you don't know about their website, go to the website and search it. It is the single best search engine anywhere. Yeah. The one thing I will say, if you're on a mobile device and try and do it, it sucks. If you get their app, it's pretty decent. But,
oh, yeah.
But just doing a web web-based off of your phone, it's garbage. But do it on a computer, and it's amazing. And you can also download the CAD files and 3D print things for testing purposes.
For testing purposes only. Yes.
Yes. Gears, whatever.
Yeah, it is pretty cool. Yeah, so Indiana John says he's ordered several $1,000s of materials over the last 6 years and has never gotten a catalog. When I started getting the catalog, it was a complete surprise. I didn't ask for it, but we had spent, I think there was one year in particular where we spent lots. Like we got a pallet from them once, because we were on some crazy project. Let's see. Warren says they used to send them every 3rd year. Now they've sent him a new one the past 3 years running. No rhyme or reason. He uses the computer website, keeps the catalog on the truck. So I agree with you. The app for the phone from McMaster is pretty awesome, and I use that a lot. So what do you got going on in the shop there today, Chris?
That. Awesome. You want to take a tour of the hateful machine?
Yeah, absolutely.
Let me see if I can flip this around. Yeah, there we go. All right, let me back up. I'm not flexing on anybody.
You're flexing.
Or anything like that. Yeah. You know what? If I had one of these as big, trying to see here, I just need to send you my door, and you just put a big laser shark on the front of it.
I could actually get I can get anodized sheet from McMaster car. There's the tie-in, and we'll talk. You and me, we'll talk.
It may not be a bad idea. So anyway, I'm knocking stuff over here. So I have got this somewhat crusty Trademark 1100, and that I got from our buddy Design the Everything. And we went a few weeks back up to Indy on a 7 or 8 hour road trip, me and a guy that used to work with us that just retired, to pick it up. And I've been decrusting it. It looks pretty nasty right now. I've got, let me see if we can get a close up on the Bondo, or what was Bondo, I guess. All the cast iron. I'm not putting Bondo back on it. There's not a chance. It'll get some paint and called good. Overall, it was just kind of nasty. The surfaces don't look too bad at all. The base down here, it was the coolant was that, and this is before AJ had it. AJ's not the one that was hateful to it, but it looks kind of like chocolate milk. I don't know what it was, but so that had a lot to do with it. But like I said, overall, it's getting there. I'm going to get hopefully the base prime today. Let's see if we can get in here.
And I assume you've run it a little bit.
Yes, I actually ran it whenever we were up in Indy and made a part on it. I'm former electrician, and I get that an extension cord, it's wires, but and like I said, this was pre-AJ, but they had some stuff just kind of hanging, and we haven't got into this side of it. I don't think it's that bad. There's just a few things that have to be fixed, because I want to send it back. I want to get it back like those outlets. Let's come over here. Let's see, can we see these? Yes. So these little style of outlets that are in the bottom, I'm not too worried about putting those back. I'll mount some other outlets. It's not going to be exactly like it was, but I would like the wiring schematic to match what it was. That way, if I have to troubleshoot anything, that I can find it. Let's come back over here. Here was another issue, or I say an issue, little one-shot oil pump. Pull on this, slowly forces oil down underneath and comes up. Oh, it comes up like this is the last fitting right here on the Z-axis on this way. And I was not getting any oil coming out of here. So I kind of split it in half, and I got a little bit. Long story short, I've got to pull the oil system and see where my plug or whatever is. I'd almost rather shovel snow than to do that because I know it's part of it up, can't see up under there. So then we've got, see if the reflection will kill us here.
What's that bright?
So there is the base.
Oh, nice.
And I've got 2 coats on the top, which is done. And then I just got one coat on the sides. And I'm just making the whole thing one color. Originally, it was darker on the bottom or for the base. And then the machine was the darker color. This in here is where the coolant tank sits. And I can assure you, I am not taking the time to get every last bit of coolant out of there so the paint will stick. It's not going to happen. So, plus there'll be a door on there and a coolant tank. But I did, yeah, we can see that here. So I went over everything, and I just primed it yesterday. And I know that let me rephrase that. I know there wasn't any oil anywhere on the primer, and the paint told me otherwise. So you can see the little spots. It ends up that's where some oil had got on it somehow, which could have just been dust and dirt as I was grinding. But another coat of paint, and it'll be just fine.
Hey, Craig, I have a question for you.
Yep.
So does that use the Bijur metering valves?
So let me get back over here. This is probably the easiest one to see. On this one, all this is a banjo fitting, and then this bolt that goes through it has a hole drilled perpendicular to it and then through the end, and it squirts out. There's a little O-ring underneath this banjo fitting. There's another one I'm assuming is the same type of deal. I haven't pulled it yet. So
okay,
I know what you're and then there's a little manifold too.
Okay, that's where they would be. So let's take a look right there. Is that those? I really can't tell if those are metering valves or not. You know which ones I'm talking about?
I vaguely do because I've seen people talk about them on surface grinders.
Yeah, because I became an unfortunate expert when I did the McMaster, and I got a little show and tell right here. So this is what I'm talking about.
Okay.
That's a Bijur metering valve.
I would bet that this bottom one looks pretty close to that.
So the letters stamped on the flats of the ones that I have is Hotel Juliet Bravo, HJB. And if you're using those, I have a whole kit here.
I've got, yes, there's some, I know there's a J, looks like a B. I'd have to get my reading glasses out to see all that.
It could be your lucky day, dude.
But yeah, so I'm assuming, because that one's coming, so this one, no, this was the feed in up here. So then that would make sense that it's got the metering valves going to each one. So then I'm assuming each one of those is a different size. Is that correct?
Yeah, they will be, and you don't want to mix them up. So when you pull one out, you want to start a diagram that shows you which one came out of which hole. They're going to be numbered 0 through 7 or something. I can't remember. And it will that's the size of the orifice. That's how much volume. It's the size of the orifice. You know what that means.
Right.
But the thing about these fittings that I think is very important to share is that if it's the ones that I think they are, which they probably are, they are a valve, an orifice, and a filter. So I know people talk about cleaning them. You can clean them, but I replace them.
Right. I'm setting you down. So since you brought that up, there was a diagram.
Yeah, while you're looking for the diagram, let me just explain to everybody what we're talking about here. Because I find a lot of people don't know that these are meant to be changed annually. And if you look in the hole, this is a used one. You can see it's this end. You can see the fabric filter in here. So these things are about, I think, $4. And you should change them out. Have a number on them. Like this is a number 3. And whatever number you pull out, you should put in the same number, unless you're intentionally trying to change the flow rate of the lubrication. Yeah, Warren says he has not had much luck cleaning them. He buys new. Absolutely yes. I would not clean these because there is a fabric filter in it.
So do those numbers tell you anything, Spence, or is that just something that?
I'm looking at it.
So I've got like P19, P20, P16.
No, I think that's their internal designation for the lines. What you want to do is just yank it out and look at it. You won't hurt it by taking it out. Just be very careful on the metal, the flexible metal tubes, because they could be a little fragile sometimes.
Yeah, mine are actually plastic.
Oh, then you're all set. Just so pop it out, and on the flats you'll see the designation and the number. And then if it's the same as mine, congratulations, I'm going to send you some. If it's not the same as mine, and I say mine, but this was from when I had the McMaster, and if it's not the same, you can go over to CNC Specialty Products, I think, and that's where I bought them, and they've got all of them. Fed Radcater says, I want to flush the oiling system on my Brown and Sharp 510. Any best practice? So yeah, this is exactly what we're talking about, Fad. Best practice is replace all of these. Okay, and maybe before you replace all of these, pump a solvent through the system. But that's for the lines. That's not for the metering valves. And then when you're all done with that, change all the metering valves, and then you're back to business. And then plan on changing these basically once a year, once every 2 years if you get lazy. I hope that answers the question. That was a good question.
There's my coolant.
Oh, it looks yummy.
Doesn't it? It smells great too. Of course, it was in, here's my tank. That doesn't look bad.
So, Fat Ratcater, yeah, mineral spirits is fine. I like alcohol, whatever you got.
So because I'm me, so what they had done, you can't see it, but kind of sort of see it. So this was the one side of that's where the original coolant tank set. Well, what they did was they just set a box. This is pre-AJ. set a box right here on the side, and then put in a this pump right over here, basically a sump pump to use as a coolant pump. So this was the original pump, and the you can probably see the reason why they did that is the original pump, the base of this was just destroyed. So it does still run, and because I'm me and because I have a CNC machine now, I'm going to try and remake this plate just to see if I can get it to work. If I can, fine. If I can't, fine. But you know, like I said, it'd be a good project, even though it's the impeller's a little skanky, but hey.
Well, I'm looking forward to seeing you get that machine up and making chips.
Me too. It's been so stinking cold, and then I've been working overtime, and by the time I get home, if it's 7:30 at night, it's not worth trying to get the garage heated up, and certainly can't do any painting.
Yeah.
But we're supposed to have today and tomorrow is supposed to be good, and then it's going to turn back cold, so I should be able to get most of the painting done. What I'd like to be able to do is get this stupid machine on the stand so I don't have to stoop over to
What's
get
your
it.
current temperatures there?
I think today's supposed to be mid-50s.
Send some of that up here, would you?
Yeah, I will.
It was 7 degrees this morning.
Yeah, I think we're supposed to get that later this week.
Well, I'm very excited for you about getting that machine up and running. That'll make some nice parts. How big is that area that you need a laser shark for?
I don't know. I'll have to measure. Let's see.
Now, I'll point out that we don't make laser sharks for just anyone.
Looks like that's about, we'll call it 19 by 20.
Well, I know I might have some 12 by 12.
There you go.
I believe I have 12 by 12 anodized in my stock.
And I would like to point out, and just again, so I can flex on people, this is serial number 1. It's probably like serial number only 1. But I've got one and you don't, so.
We never put a maximum on them, you know.
It's limited edition, I believe.
So, if everybody's confused, the Laser Shark was a concept suggested by Chris, drawn by my kiddo Sam, and then we laser engraved it on the epilogue, and we shipped Chris for an undisclosed sum. As yet undisclosed.
I've got my round to it around here somewhere, but I'll have to get around to cleaning the top of my toolbox. It looks like like McMaster car blew up in my toolbox.
I started shipping round to its with PFG Stones without any explanation at all. Fantastic.
Well, that's good.
We're thinking of starting our own cryptocurrency based on the round to it.
Yeah, I don't I don't understand any of that, to be totally honest with you. So
you're more to be envied than pitied. Fad Radcator's reporting -1 in Philadelphia.
No.
Yeah. Anyway.
No.
So thanks for being on today, buddy.
You're welcome.
You're on the short list of approved parties.
All right, good deal.
Maybe next week we'll get another famous person on, and we'll have some fun. So, if you're willing to hang in here, we could start taking questions. And we got the first question, and it's for you. How old is that machine?
It is 2014, I think. Hold on.
That's not too ancient.
I'm sorry, 2011. 2011.
Excellent. And they're still supporting those machines, no problem?
Yep, as far as I know. I hope.
Pretty cool.
Well, the one good thing about it is everything's pretty much Lego parts on this, and for the most part, cheap Lego parts, cheap even compared to say a big machine. So, and I can pretty much everything. I can throw whatever servos or controllers or anything that I wanted on it if it did, something was wrong. So,
excellent. So I'll just reiterate. I mentioned these guys before. CNC Specialty. Let me get the exact name, because these guys had all of the let's see, CNC. Oh, there it is. All right. If everybody's got your officially issued government pencils ready, it's CNC Specialty Store. CNC Specialty Store. They have all the Bijur stuff, all the fittings, all the tubes, all the metering valves, all that stuff. No, hashtag sponsored. They're in Delavan, Wisconsin, and they're good guys. So that's where I built this kit from. I just bought all this junk from them with vast plans of being a good maintenance person. All right, so let's see. Any other questions today? We're here for you guys. We will share all of our wisdom, and if we don't know, we're going to make it up. I like your hat.
Thank you. It's a little bleached and salted, and that's the yard mowing hat. So
it's perfect. It's exactly how it should be. Everybody's being shy today. Was it something we said?
I don't know.
Fat Radcater says, yeah, I think it is something you said. So my plan today is after we click off on the live to get back to Stones. The machine's all warmed up. Machine Shop Outlaw says, I'm a shy guy. We're not judging. Actually, we kind of are, aren't we?
Yes, we are.
We are judging.
I had a question. I was wondering, there was this guy, he hasn't done it yet, but he was going to send me a picture of a tool setter once he got back out to the shop.
Hey, why don't you talk to everybody for a minute? I got to go do something.
Okay. Hey, Brandon, that's good luck finding all those on your Sharp, because mine is going to be, hopefully mine are all at a manifold and I don't have to crawl underneath. I do have to replace the Y-axis ball screw because it's got a new one that came with it, but I don't want to have to get underneath it.
Warren reports, I have nothing to say. Thank you, Warren. Swiss, welcome aboard. So this is just apropos of nothing. We were talking about Z-setters. So this is the Mitutoyo Z-setter, and I believe Machine Shop Outlaw is saying he's changing wipers this week on the ways. Nice. So this is the guy I was talking about. And this is the simplest thing in the world inside, and that's the pictures I will send you. But it's a pretty nice design. And I believe this was made in the United States in cooperation with Mitutoyo, because the box says Mitutoyo and it says made in USA. So I believe that the south part of this is made in the USA. And it's basically a 1-inch reference on the shelf right here. And then this is your setter. And the way you calibrate it is you just stick a flat on it to get to that 1 inch shelf, and then you calibrate it. It's really super duper uber pooper simple. And I take it apart and flush it out every now and then so it stays skookum. But this is my primary Z setter on the VMC, and then I have a hammer. I have a hammer that works with it, so I could stick the hammer in the spindle and then probe. But if I'm setting an absolute tool setting, I use that. Anyway, so there's a question that just popped in. Let's see who it is. Bad Radcater says, my spindle is quiet, running 38% on the VFD, just barely warm to the touch. Good or bad? I'm going to vote good.
I'm going to say good.
Yeah, we're going with good. There's a great misconception that if you have any heat coming out of a bearing, it's bad. It's like it's a terrible thing. That's not true, because a bearing that generates no heat means that there's no stretching in it. There's no contact, and if there's no contact, it ain't much of a bearing. So there is a preload. Spindles usually have a very carefully specified preload, and you squish the conical bearings together just the right amount, and then when you run it, you're literally like squishing and unsquishing metal as the bearing goes around. It's going to generate heat, so don't panic about that. As long as it's properly lubricated and it's properly preloaded and all that good stuff, a little warmth, it keeps the ice off. Is there any ice on your spindle, Chris?
No.
So you're all. I hope that answers that question, and that's a guaranteed accurate answer, or double your money back. If only Robin Renzetti was here, we would get the truth. But without Robin, we'd just have to make up the truth. And you can quote me on that.
Well, as long as you sound confident, it's okay.
Yeah. Oh, I'm confident.
Yeah, if you sound confident carrying a clipboard, that's usually, at least in my job, I can walk in anywhere with clipboard and a tool pouch, and and that's actually. It's actually scary how accurate that is.
I actually have a hard hat and a clipboard.
Yep.
And a radio.
Yep. You got that, and now safety vest too. That's better.
Okay, I know what I'm going to wear for the next live. Okay, so there you go. Any more questions? This is what keeps us alive here.
Yeah. Did you have any antennas you said you may or may not be able to show this week?
Oh, was I going to show antennas? So talk to the people for a minute. I'll get an antenna.
So ask Spencer just some stupid, random, whatever weird. Just make up anything whenever he comes back. Hopefully he can't hear me when I'm saying this.
I don't know if I ever showed this. This is a very simple antenna. Warren is showing a deficit of smart-ass comments. This is a Yagi antenna. It's hard to show in here. So this was designed. I designed this for work on the UHF SATCOM satellites, the military satellites. There's your frequency range. Whoops, upside down. 251 to 267, and it's officially called a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 element Yagi. And This is used as a reference antenna when we're doing measurements. It does look like a TV antenna, Warren. Okay, Almost Machining has a question that we'll get to after this antenna, which is there a rhyme or reason to the shape of oil grooves in a way? We could talk about that. But this is the antenna of the day. I guess this is going to be a new feature on the IG Live. And this was designed to point at a satellite and receive a signal. And if you wanted to point at a satellite and receive a signal, you too can do it.
So this is your vertical piece. The pieces that are poking off the side, how are they? Are they insulated from, or are the bolt runs through them into the main square part, I guess?
Yeah, there's two different ways you could design a Yagi, is with insulated elements or elements that are connected to the boom. This is the boom, and these are insulated elements. So those clamps are made out of Delrin, and those are insulated. And yeah, it's not black Delrin, which it should be. It's white Delrin. This is a lab antenna, and that's the center insulator, and there's a little bit of magic in there. But that's how you get from your coax to your driven element.
So what is on the coax, we'll call it the inner wire, what does it connect to? So
the coaxial connector is just like in any TV system. There's an outer conductor, and then there's an inner conductor. And the reason it's called coax is they are coaxial. The center of those two things are on the same line. And that is a transmission line. That's what gets radio frequency energy from one place to another, all over the world in all sorts of applications. So it's not the only kind of transmission line. Coax, which is short for coaxial cable, is not the only kind of transmission line, but it is probably the most common today. I hope that answers your question.
Yeah, it's all magic.
It's all magic. But you wanted to see an antenna, and I show you the antenna. Look, I'm just the magician here. I can't make this stuff up. Well, actually, I could make this stuff up, but. So, if anybody has any specific antenna questions that you want covered next week, send me a DM and say, I always wondered about the XYZ, and we'll try to do that. So let's see. There was a question about the shape of the grooves in ways, and does it have any magic associated with it? And as far as I know, the answer is no. You just want to cover. You want to go across the ways so that the oil will distribute across the width. One of the no-nos, if I'm remembering correctly, I don't consider myself an authority on this, but you want to keep the grooves on an angle. So if your ways are going up and down, then you want your grooves to basically be on an angle. So you could have a swoopy curve, or you can sign your name. I don't think it matters. But you don't want them to wipe off the oil. So I think you don't like them straight across. I think that was one of the things. Oops. But I'm making all that stuff up.
Like that?
Yeah, that looks perfect. I like it.
Yeah, done perfectly with a Sharpie.
That gets the job done. Questions. Oh my gosh, these all. All right, this is an important one from KR Blodgett. He asks, Spencer, do tomatoes belong on hot dogs? And that's a very important question. And the answer to that is yes, only in ketchup. Thank you for asking.
Oh, no.
Sorry, we're on to the next question. We have to move on.
No, we're not friends anymore. I'm sorry.
Bad Red.
Put ketchup on. Nobody puts ketchup on hot dogs.
Okay, I like mustard too. Fat Rat Cater says, why the hey do you live in New Hampshire? Well, because I don't want to be dead in New Hampshire. Next question, please. Indiana John Flips says, I've got a beefy old lathe, and when I engage the saddle for threading, it bogs down a lot. How are your gibs? And I'm asking that as a friend, just between you and me. How are your gibs? Because if your saddle, like, well, my first question would be, does your power feed work? If you just use power feed, does that work? That's question one. And if the answer is yeah, it works fine, then that means when you go to half nuts for threading, is that when it bogs down?
Or in assuming that both the screws, that you have a feed screw and a threading screw, because like my lathe, my Craftsman, Atlas, whatever, it's one lead screw. So it's feed and threading both.
Yeah, so I would check on your gibs, make sure they're not too tight. Make sure your carriage lock isn't on, which is what Fed Radcater just said. And okay. The other thing is, remember that when you're doing power feeding, like we were talking about, it's running a gear on the feed on the
Lead screw.
The lead screw. Thank you. And then when you switch over to half nuts, the half nuts clamp on the lead screw, which may be a different lead screw, but probably not. And then it moves along. So you're pushing from a different point. So in my mind, I'm worried about the saddle maybe is cocking, which can happen if your gibs are trashed. So I'd go right to the gibs. Back to the question box. Should I swap the 1 horsepower motor in it with a 5 horsepower one I've got? What do you say, Chris?
My lathe has a little bitty, I don't even know, fractional horse motor on it. And while it's not near enough, it has saved me before. So it just depends on if it's cutting what you want it to cut, yeah, leave it. But if you need to remove some more material quicker, then, and of course, you also have to remember, though, you've got more power. Like I said, if something bad happens, then you've got more power to break stuff.
So I'm going to add on to that comment and go with a firm no. Because if the guy who designed that lathe put a 1 horsepower motor on it, all of the stuff downstream of that motor is designed for 1 horsepower. And if you put a 5 horsepower motor on it, it's not good. So I'm going to go with no. Stick with as designed. And I think we've answered all the questions that showed up in our box. How big is the lathe, asks Fat Rat Cater. Indiana John, we're waiting. How big is the lathe? We need to know. America is waiting. Your people are waiting. How big is the lathe? I love lag. While we're waiting for that, I will remind you that we'll be back next Sunday at 1 p.m. for more shenanigans. And, the motor is not original, and the gearbox does have a 5 horsepower rating. I'm going to go with if it's rated for 5 horsepower, give it or as somebody says, give her 5 horsepower. Go for it. I'm just worried about hot rodding the lathe by putting a bigger motor on it. It's got a 14-inch swing and a 48-inch bed. That smells a lot like 5 horsepower.
The only other thing to remember is you've now got a whole lot bigger circuit to run that lathe. So,
yeah, you got electricals to worry about. All right, guys. Top of the hour. I think we're going to sign off. Chris, thanks for hanging in here. It was a lot of fun.
you betcha.
And I got to get to work. If somebody wants their 4-inch stones, and they've already bugged me about it. All right, guys. Have an awesome Sunday.
So, yeah.
Stay safe. Do something useful, even if it's wrong. Ciao.